All right. Hey, my friends. Welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about fear and the idea of a mirage and really understand how, when you understand mirages, you can really begin to understand fear on a different level. And I think it will be really helpful for your journey to recovery. So, for those of you that don't know me real quick, my name is Matt Codde. I'm the founder of Restored Minds and the creator of the AAA Response. If you are looking for help on your journey, please check out the links down in the notes. We have some great resources to get you started. You can also head over to Restored Minds. And if you find this show valuable, please help us out by liking, subscribing, and leaving a nice review on iTunes and Spotify. So, with that said, let's dive in. So, I've been thinking about this idea a lot lately, and we've been talking about it in our community in taking back control of this idea of a mirage, and really using this in context with the experience of fear. Because a mirage, in its traditional kind of frame, is usually thought of when you are crossing the desert, or on a road where it's just like maybe a paved road, or crossing the desert altogether, and all of a sudden you see water, right? Or there appears to be water, and when you think about it, so like if you have an experienced person who's crossing the desert versus an inexperienced person who's crossing the desert, the inexperienced person will have the illusion of the mirage happen and really perceive that water is there. Like, oh, wow, there's water. And now if they are particularly thirsty or craving water, they might even be inclined to drive towards the water. Right, let's say if there was palm trees, to go seek out shelter in the shade and to pursue the mirage, or what they see through the mirage, I should say. An experienced desert traveler sees a mirage and understands that it's just that. It's just a mirage. They don't take the content of the mirage seriously. They don't take the idea that there might be two springs there, or palm trees, or coconuts, and because they know the whole thing is a mirage. Right? They understand, in the context of mirage, everything you see is not real. So it doesn't matter if there's two springs there, if there's a bunch of food there, if there's shelter there. It just doesn't matter, because the experienced desert traveler understands, hey, that's a mirage. Now, someone who's inexperienced, like I said, may start like running at the mirage with buckets. Right? How they talk about the entire experience is going to be totally different, because they're not going to understand the context. They might be like, what we need to do is we need to get buckets, and we need to go over there, and we need to get water, and set up this whole plan that's based on a complete illusion. Now, why am I saying all this? Well, in the context of fear and recovery from OCD and anxiety, this is really the difference between someone who maybe is early on in their journey and someone who's further down the road in recovery. Because the experience is the same. The experienced desert traveler still looks and still sees mirages. That's a normal experience. But they understand the context. So they just keep going. Right? They don't judge whether they saw a mirage. They don't question why they saw a mirage. They don't get mad at themselves for seeing a mirage. They just see, oh, that's a mirage, and keep going. The inexperienced person, again, runs after the mirage, gets caught up in the details of it, and gets lost in it, and eventually can pursue it, and eventually do dangerous things like run out in the desert pursuing water that's not really there. Totally get off track, up in their life, maybe do something even damaging. In the same with fear and anxiety, OCD and anxiety and fear. What you got to understand is when you're experiencing fear, like the energy of fear creates a distortion. So when you feel the energy of fear, you have to, like I talk about the lens of fear a lot in my book, as well as in TBC. When you understand that there is truly this like lens that forms, you understand that you're seeing things in a distorted way. Like, and it's kind of scary to really come to that realization sometimes, because a lot of times we like to really understand ourselves as very intellectual and rational people. But when fear comes up, you don't see things clearly. There's this energy that creates a distortion, and much like a mirage. So what you see through the lens of fear is going to appear a certain way. And what most people do is they take what they see through fear as the problem. Just the same way the person who sees through the mirage that there's this water, this shelter, all that stuff. The same way someone who is seeing something through the lens of fear they will see the content of it, right? They will say, oh, well, there really is germs on that door handle, or, I really may have ran someone over in the past there, and so I need to go and turn myself in, or this intrusive thought about this content, so I need to analyze, I need to, and they start doing all these behaviors in the complete wrong context. So this idea is so important because once you understand the context of OCD and anxiety, you understand that there are experiences that you're going to notice that are completely just part of that, right? You might have an intrusive thought pop up. You might feel a bunch of anxious energy happen. That's part of the context of OCD and anxiety. As much like when you're crossing the desert, you may see a mirage. It doesn't mean you should do anything about it. That's part of the context of that specific situation, right? It's not bad that it happens. It's not good that it happens. It's just something that seems to happen. Fear is something that we as humans experience. The more identified we are with our mind, especially, the more fear we're often operating from. When you don't understand that it is fear, then you take what you're looking at through that lens of fear seriously. Does that make sense? Like, I hope you're getting that point, because understanding the idea of a mirage can really transform your experience with this and your recovery altogether. Because if you take it at face value and say, oh, that really is water, and you start grabbing buckets and running towards the water, like, do you understand how that's going to be very, very detrimental to that person's well-being? In a very same light, if you are looking through the lens of fear at something and taking that at face value, you're going to have the propensity to spiral, to start all of a sudden doing a bunch of compulsions that keep the loop going and essentially keep you stuck in the illusion. Someone can pursue the mirage there until essentially they chase the water so much that they just never get there. And in the case of crossing desert, it could be deadly. Same thing though with fear and anxiety and OCD. Like, if you are constantly taking what you are seeing at face value and you are constantly pursuing that and washing your hands and or ruminating and analyzing and this and that and doing all these different compulsions, it can ruin your life. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. That's why when you understand the context of Mirage, it can be life-saving. When you understand the context of the OCD and anxiety loop, it can really transform your life, because an experienced desert traveler, it's not that they don't see the mirage. They don't pursue it in any way. A person who isn't caught in OCD and anxiety, it's not that they don't feel fear or don't have intrusive thoughts. It's that they don't pursue it. That's the difference. The experience is one and the same. The reaction and ultimately the behavior that follows is what differs. And so when you're talking about what's the difference between someone that's in recovery versus someone who's stuck in the loop, it's the difference of the mirage. It's the difference not in that they don't see the mirage, but that they understand it's a mirage and that they don't pursue it. That's really the difference altogether. So, I hope this was helpful. And I hope that you really get this idea, because once you understand it's a mirage, then it's about putting in the right tools. And so, like I said, we have some links down in the notes you can check out. A great place to get started would be, my book. I'm actually going to be doing I think a 3 or 4 day intensive this month in February. So if you're not part of the mailing list and you're not part of that community altogether, head over to restoredminds.com and join that so that you can get notified and get signed up, because I'm going to be doing a live workshop with everyone, so where we're going to be talking more about these concepts. So please check out the links for that. And with that said, I wish you guys a great week and a great day as always, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Hey there. So if you enjoyed that video, we've linked up a few more videos that we think you'd find helpful as well. And if you have found this helpful, we'd really appreciate your support by liking and subscribing. And if you're looking for help and guidance, please check out restoredminds.com, as we have several options for you to get started. See you guys soon.